I can't believe that
I'm
we're
so
here.
glad.
Like,
I
you know what I
know.
mean? Like, you're in New York, I'm
Mhm.
in LA. And I feel like we've seen each other a couple of times now. And isn't that crazy when Kirsten Jordan comes up to you and is like, hey, and I'm like, this is amazing right now. Like, I actually felt very special. Like, we both had these like fangirl moments. And I was like, I love this.
Well, you embody something that I wish I had embraced before I was even cast on Million Dollar Listing. Like you're one of those people that I look at you and I'm like, if only if I had the confidence to do it anyway, even though, I'm not on a television show, I feel like that's what I should have been doing all this time. And I needed somebody to tell me I was going to be on TV to do it. And now my mission is like, please don't wait for someone to tell you that you're going to be on TV to put
Yeah.
yourself on TV
Yeah,
because come
100%.
on, it's all the same. It's all the same. It's a screen. Just put yourself out there and you will find your people, which is what you've done.
Yeah, it really is. And I'm the fact that I'm here now and we can talk about motherhood, we can talk about social media and really giving ourselves permission as women to live
Mm-hmm.
that big life that I think we all dream of. Like I talked about in one of my videos recently about overcoming imposter syndrome and really owning that because it really wasn't that long ago that I looked in the mirror and was kind of like, well, who am I to to feel like I'm not entitled to anything, but that I can work hard and actually achieve something. And I spoke about this with, I think it was Ricky, my videographer, recently. I said, well, most of
Mm-hmm.
the time when someone compliments a man, and this is a general statement, I'm not saying all men, because men suffer imposter syndrome too. But most of the time, if you compliment a man and you say, man, congratulations on building such a great business, most of the time a man will say, thank you, I've worked really hard. Whereas a woman typically will say, oh, thank you. I'm just so lucky that it's all worked out and that I'm at where I'm at. And, it's just really fortunate. And we almost excuse the fact that we worked our faces off to get where we're at. So now I really do practice consciously saying, thank you. I've worked my ass off and I'm here.
Thank you. I work my ass off. And you want to know something? Producing all these videos when I'm selling a bunch of real estate is actually a lot of work. That brings me to I think one of my biggest questions, and I think everybody wants to know, how much time a week are you dedicating to creating content? How much time a month? Like, and not even resources financially, because I think in
Right.
the end, it's like, time is money. Everybody's got their own arrangement and their own, video arrangement. Some people have really great ways of producing things expensively, inexpensively. I think it's worth it kind of, no matter what. I think it's super worth it to get it out there. If you have somebody behind the camera that makes you feel amazing, that makes you produce great content, it's worth what that costs, in my
Right.
opinion. But so what do you like from a time management perspective? Like, can you give us kind of like some tips and
Yeah.
some real numbers?
Yeah, well, I think that the misconception is that I'm filming stuff all the time, which is just so far from the
Yeah.
truth. I shoot with Ricky, or at least over the past, almost 2 years now. Ricky and I have been shooting together almost 2 years. We shoot once a month. We shoot Taya's Two Cents
Yeah.
once a month. We shoot 4 episodes, so then that way I'm always a month ahead. And once a week, I know, come hell or high water, I have a highly produced video that I can put on Instagram, I can put on LinkedIn, I can put on YouTube. So then that way, if I'm feeling inspired and on the fly and want to do something casual, I can mix in the formula that I have online, which is Atea's Two Cents, right? Which is educational
Yep.
knowledge broker. I do a proof of success, whether that's a just listed, just sold, or testimonial. I sprinkle in some personal stuff, right? So maybe that's my son at a surf competition, or it's my little one, Luca, saying something totally inappropriate. And then I do,
Love
just
that.
anything about me. So then that way people get to know me. They can see I'm
Yep.
actually legitimately selling luxury real estate and they feel like
Mm-hmm.
they're learning something and they're getting entertained.
Mm-hmm.
So shooting with Ricky once a month. And then I would also say that this year I'm trying to double up because I got such a huge return on my investment over the last, I would say 14 months, 15 months, that now we're like, okay, we're going to do Taya's 2 cents. That's evergreen. Now we're going to do YouTube, and now we're going to do more comedy videos. So like this last video that I
Yeah.
just made on my own with my iPhone, I shot that, probably in 30-minute segments on 3 different days and strung it all together. So I think altogether, I probably spent 3 hours on that video, and it's had 35,000 views in less than 48 hours. And
Yeah.
I've already gotten four sellers in my area to DM me.
Right. And so what you've done is what's really cool. And I think that it's something that everybody can kind of emulate and use as inspiration is you didn't start off doing it this much, right? You
Mm-mm.
probably started off with chewable chunks. You had some good feedback, and then you started to ramp up.
Absolutely. I think the best piece of advice I ever got was from Jason Pantana, my coach at the Tom Ferry organization, who said, Taya, you've been making videos since 2015, very casually on the fly, whenever I felt inspired. There was no, which is a very artist thing of me to do, just like whenever I'm inspired, I'm going to make a video. He's like, what if you actually had, a routine where you had a show or some sort of, weekly content where people could expect it, see what happens. And so it wasn't until I really committed to content banking, which means shooting 1 day a month and banking all of that
Yep.
content and then sprinkling it out strategically. It wasn't until I did that that all of a sudden the business started happening. And it was
Right.
literally
Right.
within 6 months of regular weekly content, no one remembered before Taya's 2 cents. No one. They're
Right.
like, oh, you've been doing this forever. And when all the business started happening, I'm like, guys, it hasn't even been a year, but wow, movie magic. Like, that's the power of social media. If you start doing something on a regular basis, people really get comfortable with that.
Yeah, they definitely do. They definitely do. And I remember I've watched it evolve because I've been following you definitely for the last couple of years. And it's really great to see it evolve because it's something to emulate, first of all, because I think that's
Thank
really,
you.
really important, especially, for me, I still find it's a slog. I'm only doing once a quarter as far as like our probably like the batched content. So I'd like to be doing more. Clearly, I'm like you, like, yeah, if I feel like if I'm on the fly, but if I have like a week where I'm not feeling it, or then
Well,
it goes
that
into
happens
2 weeks of
often.
not feeling it. Well, yeah, exactly. Where I'm like, I'm just like so busy, and I don't want to talk. I don't know what to talk about. Like, leave me alone. It's really easy for it to fall off. And then the other thing is I am always worried about like putting out too much, saturating. But the truth is in the end, that's not really going to happen, right? I mean,
Yeah.
can you speak to that?
Yeah, absolutely. I was actually just listening to Grant Cardone's book, Be Obsessed or Be Average, that one, and how
Yeah.
he is just all about like saturate. He's like, there is no such thing like the internet. There's billions of people. Like, you're not going to saturate shit. And so for me, and Gary Vee says something very similar, right? Like, if you're producing valuable content, people are going to still show up, and the algorithm is not going to push you through every single time you put out a piece. Like, sometimes
No.
people who are in my intimate sphere don't even see my videos for like 5 days. So I
Yep.
think we need to give ourselves permission to put content out more often that's quality, right? And not be so worried about what other people think. And also trusting the fact that if you are a working professional and you actually have something intelligent to say, that you're going to figure it out. I work and sell real estate all the time. So I
Yeah.
do read news articles. I am educated. So when we sit down and talk about, whether or not someone should buy a multifamily as a first property, I have an opinion about that. So we
Yeah.
talk about it, we establish the hook, and then he goes, okay, I'm turning on the camera. And I'm like, let's
Hey,
go.
everybody, multifamily versus single family home. That's my
Yeah.
jam. No, I get it. I listen. I mean, I think that's the reason why I do these broadcast, appearances on, on television or on any of these streaming
Yeah.
things, because it's like, it's not that stressful. Granted, it is stressful because the live stuff is totally freaking stressful, way more than I thought it was
Yes.
going to be. But still, these are topics that we're talking about every day with our clients. So it's really not that big of a deal. And actually, I think sometimes I'm trying to come up with something that's like way more creative as content that I need to create because
Mm-hmm.
the truth is like the basic, what I think is super basic knowledge and super basic information, everybody else is like, really? You really think?
Yeah.
Wow, that was mind blowing. That staging thing you did, wow. And you're like, yeah,
Right.
it's like really important.
Yeah, and I think it's important for us to consume content too, right? Like to see what other
Yeah.
people are doing
Yeah.
and be inspired. The one thing that I really love that's come about from doing content creation for my business is that it keeps me on my toes, right? So if I do subscribe to the LA Business Journal, or I do subscribe to like local newspapers, I'm keeping myself educated because I want to be the first to talk about it, right? Like that's how I came up with like the Top Golf
Yep.
videos. Like, oh my God, I went online. No one in Los Angeles has made a video about Top Golf coming. Like, think about that. And so now I made that video on YouTube. Within 48 hours, I'm the number 12 search result for videos. And that's just within like the first couple days. So I think that we need to
Yep.
be more creative and coming from a place of value. Like, how can I be of service to someone? Not just what can get the clicks, what
Right.
can get the views. We just need to be of service and be genuine about it, and people will come.
Well, but also in the fashion of like everybody who wants to know what it takes to make a viral video, that's something like let's say we were to count how many videos you did before you thought to yourself to click in to do this video about Top Golf. I mean, what? We're talking hundreds of videos
Yeah.
that you've done, and I'm sure some of them have more vibe and more viral than others. Like there are
Right.
some I actually like laugh out loud, pee in my pants, think they're so funny that you do,
Thank you.
and I like watch them over and over. Like I have to like watch them a
Yeah.
couple of times, send them to my team. I think they're amazing, and then I'm sure you do some where you're like, I thought people would like this,
Oh,
and
nobody liked it.
you know, nobody cared,
Yeah.
and so I think that it's like everybody thinks, well, if I'm not like viral in the first like 15 videos that I put out there, then what now? And now I feel like probably similar to you, it takes me way less time to produce the content than it did before. My first 12 videos that I ever made, I think it took me like an entire day. It was like 8
Yeah.
hours of shooting, or 9 hours. Now 12 videos, I can do it in 3 hours, and I could probably do 24 and be done by like 3 o'clock and still go. And granted, do I
Yeah.
want to go show apartments afterwards? No, because I'm freaking wiped out, because there is something about it that's totally exhausting. Like can't believe you're here
Yes.
right now talking to us
Oh my
after a whole day
God.
of shooting. But it's listen, you got to just like, you're going to get better. You're going to get better, and the content's going to get better, and it's going to hit more in other ways. And there's so much, it's always going to get better. Right.
100%. And when you get the reward of people in your sphere who come up to you when you see them in real life and they go, oh my God, I loved that video about who pays for staging. Like I did not know that. And then before you know it, you're in a group of like, we're moms, right? And it's like you're in a group of moms and they're like, oh, wait, you sell real estate. That's right. Like I do follow your page. And before you know it, people are talking to you about what you do instead of the
Yep.
old fashioned days when you're like, you felt very disingenuous being like, hey, do you know anybody who's thinking of buying or selling real estate? And you're like, ugh, like kill me.
I
No.
know, I know, I know. Actually, that's the other biggest pitch about social media. It's like, you no longer have to be like, just want to remind you I'm a real estate agent
Oh my
to
God.
your sphere.
Ever.
Literally, it's because that's what my whole platform is about. So if you follow me, or I can follow you, and then you follow me back, you're going to be like, wow, you are in real
Yep.
estate, huh? And you have stuff to say, which was a huge shift for me. I mean, I
Yeah.
literally was in the industry for 12 years when I started making social content about real estate. 12 years. Like,
Well, you
okay.
stepped out of your own way. Yeah, you stepped out of your own
Yeah.
way and look at you now. I mean, I'm incredibly inspired by you. And I think that someone commented recently about social media. And I said, look, this was on TikTok. And it was like, look, there's power in doing things in real life and on social media. Social media is
Mm-hmm.
like a supplement that's going to put your business on steroids if you do it correctly. And
Mm-hmm.
if you really like, when it comes to meeting up with people and going to these networking events, when you get invited to like a mom's night out, like I think back and I use Jessie, my friend, as an example now. I mean, she went from being a total stranger to now accompanying me to Greece for my 40th birthday in May. Look, you can't escape hard work. I think that you just have to accept the fact that anything in life that's worthwhile, whether it be a relationship or being a mom or being a business owner, like it's going to take work. And that's where the reward comes. there's no satisfaction in putting no effort in and then getting it. You know what I mean? Like I have
Yeah,
fallen
yeah.
in love with the process of enjoying working hard for something. And actually recently I lost a client. It was a $3 million client and I wasn't fast enough, right? Like granted, it was probably not a good fit anyway, but that no, which I interpreted as, okay, next opportunity, right? What's
Mhm.
the lesson to be learned here? It's like, wow, Taya, you need to slow down. You need to focus more and be a little bit more disciplined and organized. And how can the next one be better? And that kick in the pants was exactly what I needed. And I just locked up 3 new listings. And I'm like, what's up
Yeah.
now? Who's slow now? Right? Like I needed that humble pie to put myself into
Oh
check.
yeah.
And
Oh
I think
yeah.
that sometimes we need that as women and as business owners to go, okay, like how can I improve, instead of making yourself a victim and being like, woe is me, I lost this, I'm the worst. Like how we talk to ourselves is so important, and the words we choose are very powerful.
We grow up in this culture that's like, if you don't beat the crap out of yourself and get up and do it anyway, then you're not going to make it work. But sometimes you have to just be nice to yourself, kind
Yep.
to yourself. I'd love you to give us one or two pieces of advice you have for moms out there who are looking to you as inspiration because they see what you're doing. Maybe they're either just getting into real estate, or they've been in the real estate market, in the business for 6 months, 18 months, 2 years, which I still feel like is that infancy of being a broker, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how you found balance with, or not balance, integration with your work life, with your family life, and also, like, forgiving yourself for maybe needing more childcare than other women in other industries. Like, what does that look like for you, and kind of what advice do you have?
Well, I love that this question came right on the heels of talk nicer to yourself,
Yeah,
because that
exactly.
because
True.
as moms, I mean, I would be lying to you if I didn't say that I think to myself often, I need to be a better mom. I want to be a better mom. I want to give, I had a great childhood, but I want to give my kids more. I think that that conversation never ends. And so I think if we can be more gracious with ourselves and with each other as part of this like mom tribe, of knowing it's okay to fail forward. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to not be Pinterest perfect. We are
Right.
human beings after all. And I think that the one thing that's really helped me is accepting help.
Right. I
Like
agree.
I was raised by a single mom who did it all and who kind of ran around like a chicken with her head cut off at all times. And so I grew up with this sort of like organized chaos, and she survived. Whereas for me, I want to thrive, and
Yeah.
it's okay to have a switch of mindset to say, you know what? If I have a successful business, it's okay to outsource someone doing my laundry, right? Like it's okay to lean on the nanny or the tutor for help, because that's going to open up space for me to be a better mom and to have more
Yeah.
quality time and to unplug with my kid. I had a hard time with that,
Yeah.
because I really thought that, like, well, maybe being a better mom means I should be the one who's doing all the laundry, doing the cleaning, doing the cooking, doing it all. And it's like, no, like if
Yeah.
you're stretching yourself so thin, you're not taking care of yourself. And you're sure as hell not going to be the best version of you for your children. So I would say it's okay to ask for help and to lean into your tribe, and
Yeah.
to understand that there's beauty in imperfection.
Yeah. And also, like you were saying before, there's really, any man operating at the level we're operating when it comes to the business would never ever consider doing laundry and cooking
Oh,
and cleaning. So
yeah.
when we're talking about the level, they're looking at us and saying, like, wow, I mean, these women are killing it in real estate. It doesn't mean that then I'm also home, like, ironing with my foot and cooking with my pinky while I'm, like, doing an
Oh
IG
my
live.
God.
That's not happening. That's not
That's
happening.
not a
No way.
quality of life. And I
Yeah.
think that, for anyone who's in the beginning of their business and they're trying to do it all, like be very intentional with your time. If, you either make time or you make excuses, right?
Yeah.
So if you want something bad enough, you are going to do it. And so for me, I do love to cook sometimes, and I want to be at the practices. I want to be at the games. So if you fill in that time first and let the rest kind of sprinkle in, and hello, then you
my
can
husband be like,
hi
what the hell are you
hubby.
doing?
Then the rest will fall into place. I think if you make your self-care, I want every mom listening right now to know, and every stay-at-home dad, right? Or every like working dad, maybe there's some single dads listening. You need to make your self-care and your self-love a priority, hands down, to be the best version of yourself for your kids, and prioritize them, and have work come second. Otherwise, life is going to pass you by and you're like, fuck, I wasn't there, you know?
Oh, yeah, and these kids grow up real fast as
They
well. You know,
do.
you just do a little bit of that extra time with those kiddos. Which is the hardest part for me. I'm always like, come on, guys, can't we just, I don't know, I'll see you later. But
Yeah.
you really need to spend that time too. So
Yeah.
this was amazing. I'm so glad we did this.
Me
And I know
too.
this is not the end. This is just the beginning of so many things. We just, you know, that we're getting such an incredible, I would say, like, just incredible feedback from Moms of Real Estate, and everybody was really, really excited. I know my team was, and a lot of the people were, you know, DMing me off of my post that I was going to be talking to you today.
Thank you. And if anybody has any questions, you can just DM me. And I'll be sure to respond, because I am the one who manages my Instagram. So when you DM, it's coming to me.
I love it. She does it all, ladies and gentlemen. All right.